Israel can damage, or bring a lot of damage to the Iranian nuclear program. It must be noted that the program itself is spread over several dozen sites, that some of which are well entrenched, either on hillsides or well dug into bunkers with a lot of defensive shield on top of it, so that a one-time attack, doesn't matter by whom, will not inflict lethal damage. The campaign needs to be taken in order to reach the important sites and dig well into the substructure of these sites. And that would probably take days, if not weeks. In order to provide this kind of a campaign, there needs to be an air superiority campaign as well, with a lot of electronic warfare in order to neutralize Iran's defensive systems. The only Air Force that is capable of such a strategic feat is the U.S. Air Force and Navy. And as I said, it would probably take them days, if not weeks, to obliterate the program altogether. The Israeli Air Force, being probably one of the best in the world, is still a tactical Air Force, meaning it doesn't have bunker busters or bombers to carry those very heavy duty loads. So we can inflict damage, substantial damage, but it is doubtful that the program can be taken off the map altogether.
So it's a combination here, as you highlight here, of the diverse nature of Iran's nuclear program. Many sites in sensitive areas are buried deep underground or mountains, and less about ability. But you mentioned some of the critical equipment here, the Pegasus refuelers, perhaps, that have been delayed from the U.S., the bunker buster bombs and missiles here. Are those must-haves for this type of strike from the Israeli perspective?
It's not a must. It depends on the damage that is expected by the attacking force. Obviously, more refueling capabilities would help, but the bunker busters, it wouldn't really help, because our planes, our biggest plane, the F-15Is, are limited in the weight they can carry. So even if we did get those bunker busters, wouldn't be able to carry them on our airplane. It's a combination of the type of a B-1 or B-2 bombers with these munitions. We don't have either of these.
Do you see that there being a positive strategic debate around what you mentioned here, a limited yet perhaps massive strike on one or a short list of targets that could theoretically set Iran back enough?
Well, this is a good question. How much is enough? 1 year backwards, is that enough? 2 years, is that enough? So it's more of a philosophical question. But if Israel does take an action, it can cause a lot of damage, but obviously that would inflict some conflict within the Middle East, maybe with the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and will make some changes in the alliances in the area. So without going into detail, if we want to destabilize the area in order to make a point, yes, we have the capability, not just the nuclear plants, but there are other targets in Iran where hitting them would cause a lot of damage to the Iranians and destabilize the area. If this is something that we want to put on the table and threaten them with that.
Well, perhaps unlike 1981, where you and your fellow pilots set out virtually alone to Iraq here, we're left to look at, we only have a minute left of the broadcast here, but whether Israel's trying to build an international alliance here to launch such a strike with allies, perhaps with the United States. No, that's unanswerable at this point here, but definitely appreciate your insight and certainly expertise on such a situation here that Israel may face with Iran. That's IDF Reserve Brigadier General Relik Shafir, again, one of the 8 Israeli pilots who destroyed Iraq's reactor in 1981. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.